Los Angeles Infamous needs to start fast and push themselves hard during the beginning of World Cup because they can get off to a slow start and get stuck in a hole early on, which is what has happened to them at most of the events this year. Though their lineup is stacked with both talent and experience, the big reason that they haven't won this year is because they can't get everyone playing on the same page. All of their players have played well this season, but just not 5 of them at the same time. They've been hurt a bit by penalties as well, but that is not the reason they have not lived up to their potential. Their roster is basically an all-star team, and they could break out of their shell at Cup. With names like Nicky Cuba, Bobby Avilas, Drew Templeton, Brad McCurley, and Damian Ryan on the roster, who's personally been stunning this season, they could still put together a run and win the World Cup. Moscow Red Legion is the most successful PSP team during the modern age, period. They've won 10 events and 3 world titles. But the past 2 years have seen Red Legion forced to rebuild after losing a few superstars to Houston Heat. In 2012, they took second twice and had a very solid crew, but this season started badly for Moscow. They fought back, though, after getting knocked into the Challengers Division and finished third at the last event in the Champions League and beat Houston Heat along the way. Alexander Bernikov, 2012's Top Gun Award winner, needs to have a big event, along with whoever Moscow decides to have play the Snake, as rookie Kevin Klum and Michael Kovar have both seen time in the most important bunker on the field. Veteran Kirill Britney is out with a torn Achilles tendon, putting pressure on the rest of the team to step up in his absence.
So welcome back here. We are watching the second relegation game of the day here in the Champions Division. Los Angeles Infamous keeps finding himself in this position throughout the year. I think this is their 4th relegation game that they've had to play, but they've beat the brakes off everybody that they played in those games. And then now they're playing a pretty tough Moscow Red Legion team that's going to be pretty hungry right now, considering that, well, they're tough in the sense that those players are really good, and this is a legendary squad, but they play terrible at this event, so that is why they're in the situation that they're in, whereas Infamous just barely squeaked in having to play this match.
Well, Infamous not unusual to this situation, unfortunately, for this year. You know, they're my boys. I really feel bad watching this game right now. Brad McCurley taking the walk for Infamous already. Down one body on the Snake side.
Yeah, Infamous tried to get a power play over here going real early. Sending Brad McCurley all the way to the Snake and out to the Snake corner to shoot for him going in, but Red Legion picked that up as they doubled up the Dorito side can. Got a good cross shot over there.
You know, and you know, number 14 right there on your screen, that's Brandon Mayo, one of their newer pickups, but not unusual to the game. He's actually one of the better pro players out there, come from Avalanche side.
Drew Templeton fills out from the Dorito can out to the Dorito corner behind AJ Trillett. That's the combo we've been seeing for LA Infamous over there on the Dorito side. Michael Kovar now gets into Snake 3 and immediately gums up across the field on AJ and Drew. Jason Wheeler still struggling for Moscow Red Legion. He gets shot. Alexander Biernikov gets shot as well. So both cans walking off right now for Moscow Red Legion.
And Todd, Moscow Red Legion, they were in decent position, and then they just lost a couple guys here. And so Infamous winning some gunfights. And then now Drew Templeton trying to push aggressively. I think he air bunkered the 50-yard line.
He thought there was somebody in that 50 bunker and just got smoked down. Very unfortunate. Drew Templeton, one of the heads-up player of the team. 3 on 2 right now. Damian Ryan and Brandon Mayo.
Yeah, AJ Trillett got shot out over there as well. Drew Templeton throwing his body away. Oh, and just not knowing where the ball came from, not knowing that the player moved into the 50 Dorito. Brandon Mayo gets shot square in the goggles, and Damian Ryan, last player alive for LA Infamous, takes the walk as well. So Michael Kovar getting up and hanging the flag right there. Red Legion going up early on LA Infamous.
I still can't believe these two franchise teams are in the relegation game.
I can.
I mean, the way they played, yes.
I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where if you just think about like just about legendary status, then yeah, it's shocking that these teams would put themselves in the position that they're in. However, they earned it. There's a reason why these guys are here. So, but hey, Michael Kovar stepped up there that first point to stay alive. Both teams lost a couple guys, made some mistakes. Well, we'll see here who's going to win this game. Moscow Red Legion up 1 point right now over Infamous. We'll be right back after this.
I love my job. I really do. I really do. You know,
Well, since you love your job, talk us through this game matchup right now.
Look at Infamous. My boys, man, they have a lot of strong attacking ability. So does Russian Legion or Moscow Red Legion defending. Infamous not so good at that, in my opinion. Moscow Red Legion, they can actually kick back and let you come at them and defend themselves a lot better than Infamous. Finishing, they're both about even, but clutch plays, I got to give it to Infamous a little bit. But Diernikov and Moscow Red Legion, he's a finisher and a clutch player by himself.
Yeah, I would say the defending goes because they have the guy named Alexander Bernikov on there for Moscow Red Legion. And he's just so versatile all over the field. He can play the 1, he can play the 2 or 3, front, mid, back. It does not matter. It looks like Jason Wheeler gets shot again here. And they lose Michael Kovar as well. So Damian Ryan up there in the center for Los Angeles Infamous. Looks like Kovar got shot by Nicky Cuba. And here comes Infamous, good field position for them. 5 bodies alive.
You know, Damian Ryan right there in your screen, he's so fluid. He's like 17 feet tall and get so small. He's gonna look for this move up the middle, kind of creep a little bit. He's a really, really good creeper, blocking out those spots. He knows the shots well. And he's so fluid in his moves, and he's so fast. I mean, not Karl Markowski fast, but
well,
I mean,
he's very athletic, and he's played so much paintball over the years now that he's really starting to believe in his talent, believe in his ability, and not be scared to push forward and just see what happens and make these moves. So now he's up in the center. He just wrapped around and got a good shot on, I believe that was Pavel Lukashuk, number 69 for Moscow on that D side of the field. So Damian's searching for kills up there in the center.
You know, Damian, he's a semi-pro, I think, soccer player too, or something like that. He plays a lot of soccer, which is, you know, attributes to his athletic ability and why he has so much stamina. Plays almost every point. I mean, the guy plays almost every point, no matter what the weather's like.
Yeah, Damian Ryan is definitely one of those guys out there in the entire league that really gets the most reps for his team. Him, Archie Montemayor, and Nick Laval are those players that just really play a ton of points for their squads. He's trying to wrap around, get a kill on that D side of the field. Oh, he almost got caught though. But using his athleticism to scurry back in to that bunker.
Bierdnikov made the move right there from the can to the Snake Temple, and he's gunned up on Nicky Cuba now. Nicky Cuba in his mirror. Bierdnikov and Golev. Last 2 bodies alive for Moscow Red Legion. Damian Ryan now going to look down on Bierdnikov from the X right there. And there's Bierdnikov trying to get a shot in on Damian. Damian's got Drew Templeton. Refs running in to check Drew Templeton in the 50 Dorito. Damian going to protect Drew. Drew going to see if he can get a shot in on Bierdnikov from the 50. Nicky Cuba now bumps into the Snake 1. He's looking across the field. He can get a shot in. If he can get up another knuckle on the Snake, the Nicky Cuba last body alive over here. Want to make sure he stays alive and protects Damian. Don't throw his body away. What you don't want to do is give the Snake to Bierdnikov and leave Damian out there on an island in the A by himself.
Yeah, Nicky Cuba, he's both trying to look for kills. I think he just ripped his...
I think he had some tape on his goggles.
Yeah, he tried to get rid of that.
So yeah, Nicky Cuba, good position. And now you're looking at number 3. So Drew Templeton in good position on the D side of the field, 50-yard line. They also have Damian at the 50. Now Nicky uses, that's a smart move. Nicky uses the inside to make extra sure that Malloy doesn't get a shot on him.
If Nicky can just creep up closer and closer, the Russian coaches are going to tell Bierdnikov that he's there. Nicky should be able to get a shot in on Golev now. Drew can play the wire and push him out to Nicky a little bit.
Look at this right now. He's wide outside on the Snake side of the field, waiting for Nicky to come look inside for him. He has a great angle on Nicky Cuba. If Nicky Cuba comes out looking for him down the wire.
And Damian also living out there, and then Damian's going to launch.
What a good move by Damian Ryan.
Ooh, well, I don't know, though. Did Malloy actually take one?
Yeah,
he
got
did.
he got him in the pack as he was coming up.
Yeah, good move right there by Damian Ryan. And there goes Golev. He's going to trade out. He's going to trade out with Drew Templeton, leaving just Nicky Cuba right there. Golev.
No, Golev's still alive. Golev's still alive.
The ref called.
The ref called him out, actually.
The ref called him out.
I mean, yeah,
so
I mean,
Nicky Cuba seeing the situation. He thought that he saw the referee signal out that Golev was hit.
Yeah.
And Golev is over there just screaming at the refs on the D side of the field. Nicky Cuba getting checked over, and he's going to hang it up. So even though Golev was, I guess he was still alive because he was shooting his gun at Nicky. Nicky's still able to get through that stream and dive in. He just put the afterburners on, tried to dive in.
Yeah, wow, Nicky's like, oh, he's out. He's going to run in, and he comes back out blazing at Nicky. He's like, ah!
Hey, that was clutch by Nicky. I mean, he saw, with all the craziness happen, Damian launched, and then Drew went as well to break things open for Los Angeles Infamous. Or actually, no, Golev, I think, tried to run down Drew Templeton.
Yeah.
Drew Templeton.
He did run
but
down.
But the referee went like this, which means both of you get out.
Yeah.
If Golev shot his gun after that, then that should have been a major penalty.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, well, regardless, situation right now is that it's all tied up at 1-1, 13:50 to go here.
this is going to be a battle.
It is. It's already a battle. I mean, you really can see it in the way that those plays were happening. That was a lot of tactical paintball happening once the lines had got close enough to each other and those angles had decreased and there weren't a lot of bodies left alive. You saw some really tactical paintball there, some good moves back and forth. I really like what I saw out of both teams, at least for the players that were left on the field there. And then a great job for Nicky Cuba there to hang that flag up. And there's the event placing for these two teams. The World Cup, the best that they finished, Infamous, the best they finished was 4th, 2010. And Moscow has won a bunch of these tournaments. They've won multiple world titles. And they're actually the most successful PSP team in the modern age of the PSP since 2005. They've won 10 events since then.
Wow.
This year, though, Infamous placing much better than Moscow Red Legion.
Infamous on your breakout. There's Nicky Cuba back on the field again, making his way out to the snake side of the field. And Moscow Red Legion losing one player on the break. That's Pavel Lukashuk. Nicky Cuba. Kevin Klum getting a spin out here. Maddie, you know, we called his number a lot over the year. Damian Ryan.
I don't know why Kevin Klum hasn't got a lot of playing time. He must have not played well in practice, because I really thought the past two events that he was stepping up for him on the snake side of the field. But now they're getting him out there. So still 4 bodies left alive for Moscow. And here comes Nicky Cuba getting in the snake again for Los Angeles Infamous. So Nicky Cuba now into second part of the snake here right by the 50-yard line. Damian Ryan up the gut again in that center 50.
Yeah, Damian Ryan, for Infamous to be successful, they need to get up into the A. They didn't do it really all that much throughout the prelims. I really thought that they should have. And now that Damian Ryan has gone up here a couple points, this is where Damian Ryan is at his best. You know, feeling out the kills, feeling out the game, you know, making moves, looking to bust through the middle. And, you know, when people know that Damian's up in the middle, they look for him. And then guys like Bobby Aviles right there on your camera, who is now coming up on the Dorito side, and Nicky Cuba can get into the snake and be effective. Because now it gives them more freedom, because they don't want to come out, the Russians don't want to come out too far, get clipped in the loader side of the goggles by Damian. Frees up Nicky Cuba. Bobby Aviles, you know, to move up the wires and really pinch him out. Here comes Brad McCurley in the back of Snake Wood.
It's a shock to see Nicky Cuba up in front of Brad McCurley. You know, you got, look at, oh, there, takes one to the knee. There it goes. Malloy taking the walk. What a great shot.
Yeah, there's Brad McCurley right there in Snake 1. Got that shot in on Alexander Bierdnikov out of the Snake side can. Kevin Klum getting checked right there, number 90 from Moscow Red Legion on your screen. He's tucked in. He's worried about Bobby Aviles coming up the Dorito side. Oh, and looks like Klum just got shot on the top of the loader. Referee missed it.
Nicky Cuba looks like he's taking the walk. See Nicky Cuba walking out right there, but Brad McCurley picking up the slack, coming down and taking over a spot and pitching out Kevin Klum right there.
Still 2 players left alive for Moscow, though. Dennis Golev and Jason Wheeler. Dennis Golev, 3 confirmed kills for him in this match. Brad McCurley, Bobby Aviles, Damian Ryan, 4 confirmed for
on the
Damian
pack.
Ryan.
Across the field, nice shot. You see it on your screen right there. That was from Brad McCurley.
Yeah, Brad McCurley shoots Dennis Golev out of that Dorito 1. And then just as the Red Legion blows the horn, he shoots Jason Wheeler in the side, trying to fill through that gap as well.
So now the lead is going to go to Los Angeles Infamous with 11 minutes and 2 seconds to go. Solid work by Ryan, Aviles, and McCurley. And also Nicky Cubo was able to get into the snake and take a lot of fire for a while until he got shot, and then Brad McCurley took over from there. Well done, good work. This game brought to you by e-paintball.com, run by players for players of any player, playing style, and skill level. Shop e-paintball.com for all your paintball needs. The company's run on pure paintball passion. If you have a question or need advice, need to get a deal on something, man, they got great prices on everything. Get straight answers from players who know the game inside and out, e-paintball.com. And again, you're going to be seeing these commercials and these match sponsorships all day long. Help us out here. Support the companies that support the game. If you see somebody advertising with us, supporting the PSP here, our platinum sponsors, definitely help us out, and we're going to get some of those. We'll be right back. Welcome back here, Sunday Paintball 2013 PSP World Cup. I love watching Sundays. And because there's so much at stake, you start to see all these storylines converging on each other and figuring out who's going to succeed, who's going to fail, and why. And it all happens in front of us. And it's just fascinating out here. You know, is it going to be Moscow Red Legion? Are they going to redeem themselves and maintain their Champions Division spot after losing 4 games? Or is it going to be Los Angeles Infamous, who had a heartbreaker yesterday and weren't able to make it in, and now have to play for their lives?
So it looks like there was a penalty assessed.
Yeah, Bobby's going to get a minor penalty on that one. He got shot in the pack going out to that can, didn't realize it. And he's going to get Damian Ryan pulled. But Brad McCurley is in Snake 1. He's got Nicky Cuban next to him. Moscow Red Legion now attacking up that Dorito side. Going to put the pressure on Brad McCurley. Jumps into that 50 Dorito Lukashuk. We saw him attacking really hard down that Dorito side early in the tournament and then start getting chopped up, so he slowed down a little bit, back at it again. But he gets blown to bits by, I believe it was Callie Rudolph. Just Brad McCurley alive now, but here comes Michael Kovar on the inside. I'm sorry, that wasn't Kovar. That was Karsliev. Rookie down there on Moscow Red Legion, number 92, Pavel.
That's going to tie it up as long as this hag is clean.
Yeah, so Moscow fighting right back. 5 alive for them, too.
That, you know, they're one of those teams that could just smash you, or they could step on them, well, step on their toes, their own toes.
Yeah. Well, with less than 10 to go, it's all tied up at 2 apiece, man. We do not know who's going to win this game yet. These are 2 evenly matched teams, at least today. Let's check in with Lauren on the sidelines.
I am in the infamous pit with Travis Lemansky. You guys are tied 2-2 with the Russians right now. You guys have been in the relegation quite a few times this season. We know that it's not a problem with talent. You have great players who can produce. What do you think it comes down to with you winning this and making sure you stay in the champion bracket?
I mean, honestly, this whole game is won on the breakout. So if you can shoot a wide guy, your chances of winning this point it's huge. So basically we gotta key up on their outside dudes. No more snake on the break stuff.
All right, we'll see if they can get some kills off the break. Back to you, Maddie.
So evenly matched game, at least so far. Who is going to start pulling away, or is it going to continue to be close? I don't know. We're going to find out here.
Yeah, I mean, we've run 10 minutes off the game clock already, and it's only a 2-2 match. You know, these games, you know, kind of playing out. You know, both teams not just really giving away bodies. You know, it's been a body here, a body here, body there, body there. So,
yeah,
I mean, we'll see. Travis is right. You know, who's ever shooting people on the break or getting that first opportunity to get up the field. Here comes Damian Ryan. and he gets shot going up the middle right away, but looks like Lucas Shute gets shot as well going to the Dorito corner.
And they lose Drew Templeton, Infamous, losing 2 bodies off the break here. It's 3-on-4. No, it looks like it's 3-on-3. Pavel and the 2 Pavels, Lucas Shute and Karslev, both got shot.
Yeah, trying to come out. Moscow tried to break out to both corners and just got chopped up. Man, those corners are really hard to make on this field.
Yeah, I was down there walking the field yesterday, and I looked at some of those lanes. I'm like, man, how are these guys getting shot? And I walk out there, I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
You know, and getting up the middle, I was like, why aren't these guys going up the middle sooner? You go to those 2 cans and shoot inside. There's the first 20 feet out of the box, man. It's like a rainstorm, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not crazy. Booyah.
I am. But 3-on-3 right now, you see the field's pretty spread out. Almost even spots for both teams. Look at the D side of the field. Golev, number 14 for Moscow Red Legion, trying to get to that next Dorito. He's looking at the 50 though. He wants to get up there as soon as possible.
And things are going to slow down. As time is starting to tick off and it's tied up here, these guys are really going to double think every move that they make, which is kind of one of those things that you get a little scared at when you're watching if you're a fan, because you want guys believing in their instincts, as Karl Markowski was talking about in his interview the last game. But because there is so much at stake and no one wants to be the one that blows it for their team, you're going to watch these guys kind of dig in a little bit and really try to make sure that that lane is open before they run through it.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the big reasons, that point that Karl Markowski made, why there aren't so many more like up-and-comer star, professionals. That like a lot of kids depend on the coaching. A lot of kids depend on being told what to do instead of just naturally learning the game, trusting their instincts.
I think that's a really good point, Todd, is that if you grew up being coached constantly from a sideline, you're never forced to learn the mental skill of the game, because you're just joysticked around. And the guys that had to come up doing that, I mean, there's a reason why guys like Nicky Cuba, Travis, there's a reason why these guys, they are able to play at this level until they decide to hang it up.
Yeah, look at Rich Telford, still out here, just knows the game inside and out. Guys that have just, been around for so long that are still playing at a high level. Nicky Cuba, definitely one of those guys that, their game has matured. Karl Markowski, we're in the next phase of his career out here.
And I like seeing, like, right here, you got a great battle right now going on by Golev.
Yeah, that's on the D side of the field.
And AJ Trillette, who's on the other side of the field right in front of him.
Ooh, Malloy walking off. Alexander Burnikoff, the 2012 Top Gun Award winner, as he comes off. And so 2 players left alive for Moscow, 3 for Los Angeles Infamous. They have the advantage right now. Let's see if Trillette can step up and shoot somebody. He doesn't have any confirmed kills yet in this match. Brad McCurley with 4, Nicky Cuba with 2.
Yeah, Nicky Cuba, he can just crawl all the way down the snake and shoot Golev in the back. If he can just cross that gap, Brad McCurley going to come in and help him put some paint back in on Jason Wheeler. AJ Trillett just got to stay alive over there for LA Infamous. Wheeler, he just got to pound Nicky Cuba and not let him go anywhere.
This is a really important point for both teams. Time winding down, 6 minutes left in this game, tied up 2-2. Right now, Infamous is in the driver's seat.
Yeah, so Red Legion is now in the 50 Dorito right there, and in that Dorito side can, there's Wheeler in that can trying to suck in and stay alive.
And Nicky actually has a shot if he looks inside.
Just needs to, So what Nicky does is he gets in position to shoot the 50 Dorito. Both guns turn on him, and Trillett runs down the sideline and bunkers out Golev.
He wants to make sure he got that one confirmed. There's no doubt about that.
So good job executing right there by LA Infamous.
Solid work by, just like you said, that execution from Infamous, and AJ Trillett making a big move down that D side of the field to break it open. We'll be right back. Infamous taking the lead, 3-2, 5 minutes and 45 seconds to go.
No, Dan, not this time. Sorry.
We got in trouble in the middle of that match because we lost our composure.
If you believe in yourself, okay, nothing can stop it. If you know you're better than the other guy on the other side, that's all that counts.
That's exactly right.
Okay, it's as simple as that. It's all will.
Welcome back, 2013 PSP World Cup, biggest paintball tournament on earth, and we are starting to figure out a little bit here what's going to happen on Sunday, who's going to move on, who's not. As Shock won that first game against 187 Crew, they'll be playing in the Challengers Division Final. I'm sorry, no, they won't be playing in the Challengers Division Final, but they do secure their spot, not getting relegated. And then an Infamous and Moscow Red Legion playing right now, trying to maintain their spots in the Champions Division. And Infamous, again, not unfamiliar with being in this position.
Infamous blows the snake wire on the break, shoots out both bodies. Everybody on the Dorito side for Moscow Red Legion, they let Bierdnikov fill back across, but take all the ground. And Moscow Red Legion sees the bodies dropping all over the place, blows the horn. You know, Moscow Red Legion clearly feels the same way Travis Lemansky does, that this game's won on the break, you know, rather quickly. So they're going to give Infamous that point, let Infamous take a 4-2 lead, but 5 minutes left on the clock.
You agree with that move?
Well,
Chris doesn't seem to.
Off the break, I mean, Bierdnikov was able to bump over, and it was going to get tight, but Damien was in the center. Mayo got all the way to Snake 3. It would have been tough. You know, Nicky Cuba was, you know, one lane away from chopping down Bierdnikov right there. I mean, it looked really bad, really quick. But, I mean, you can shoot two people on the break like that. It's really easy as long as you hold your lanes and communicate, you know, to chop down those players. It's really, like Travis said, you shoot that wide guy, then you can get up and cut off those lanes. This is big lanes to run through once people are already in their bunkers. So, yeah, I guess so. You know, if Moscow Red Legion feels that they can score a quick point like that, shoot a couple bodies on the break, you know, they can make this a one-point game, you know, make a minute point, and then you can play a long game to tie it up. So.
Well, we're about to see if that's going to happen, but with Infamous having this lead, it is going to come down a lot to the break. We've seen this field also start to solidify as far as tactics are concerned, because as things move on, and then also timeout just called by Moscow Red Legion. But as the game develops and as these teams play this field, you start to see the strategy and the tactics that they use start to kind of evolve. And most importantly, people start to really get in the groove of those off-the-break shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, so can Moscow fight fire with fire, try to shoot some Infamous players off the break? They have been able to do that. We've seen a lot of these points develop into 3-on-3, 3-on-2, and then start to play themselves out. And Infamous they've been winning those close points, except for that last one. And the last two actually were just kind of a bloodbath there.
Mm. Yeah, you know, I want to see, you know, Moscow Red Legion give these guys a little more of a game. I think that would have given probably 30 more seconds in the last point to kind of see what was going to iron out. You know, you never know what's going to happen. You know, I kind of agree with them pulling it, like Todd said. I do agree with it a little bit, but I think I'd give my boys about another 30 seconds before I pulled that.
Yeah, I mean, Bierdnikov is the type of guy, you know, that you know, gets kills like that pretty quick. But honestly, the old Moscow Legion was played like that. You know, right now, they're not really playing like that.
No.
You know, in Riverside, even in Riverside, they did a really good job of being down bodies on a really tough field to close out games, or actually a field that's, if you're up bodies, it was pretty easy to close out games. They did a good job. I thought they did a better job than anybody fighting back from down bodies in Riverside. But here, you know, it's really tough, and especially with the middle the way it is, because if you shoot one of those wide guys, then you can get up that field into the middle and, you know, lock a side down. So, I mean, I'm surprised that Bierdnikov made the bump from the Dorito side can all the way over to the Snake side can, because that should have been an easy kill for at least 2 or 3 different guys on LA Infamous.
What do you guys think about this next game coming up here? Sacramento Excessive taking on Texas Storm.
You know, I think that Excessive can actually win. If they play like they were playing yesterday, I think they can win. Texas Storm, they could really play really well or really bad.
And they had lost the Odell brothers too, but let's take a look real quick here at the event kill count leaders. Damian Ryan, 45, AJ Lawhead, 32, Archie Montemayor, and Archie's going to be playing in the semifinals against Houston Heat, so he could increase that number. Chad George also is on Houston Heat, so Archie and Chad are going to be matching up over here on the Snake side of the field. And man, what a great event we have here so far. 5 minutes and 8 seconds to go.
And Moscow Red Legion again tries to take that Snake corner and makes it this time, allows them to come across and get into Snake 1. Get some decent field position right away. Drew Templeton getting shot on the break. Pavel Lukashuk trades out with Drew Templeton. So 4-on-4 ball game right now, but good field position for both teams. LA Infamous has got Brad McCurley in Snake 1, Nicky Cuba in the Snake Temple, Damian Ryan in the Dorito can, AJ Trillett over there in the Dorito.
Yeah,
you got
good.
Michael Kovar, I'm sorry.
Got better field position for Infamous with Brad McCurley and that Snake, but then here comes Moscow. They got Kucha Gaskev in there.
Yeah, that's Kucha Gaskev right there in Snake 2 with Golev and Biernikov. Biernikov fills back over to the Dorito corner.
And he's clean, so.
Karslev got shot out of that Snake side corner, so no help now over here on the Snake side for Moscow Red Legion, but Golev pushing up hard. Brad McCurley's just gonna come in and stuff the rookie.
Who almost got shot cross field doing it, but he's able to stay alive, so
and he
nice
does get
work.
shot in the pack.
No, he got shot in the pack across the field.
Did he?
He lived when he made the move, but then he stuck his butt up a little high as he tried to come around and then got shot right in the pack.
Well, now Nicky's gonna be able to push down this Snake side of the field.
Uncontested right now, too. There's nobody over here.
2-on-3, Damian Ryan, Nicky Cuba, and AJ Trillett on the field for Infamous to try to secure this lead. Must-win situation for Moscow. They had conceded that last point pretty fast when things weren't looking well to preserve time so they could try to put one on the board and keep within 1. But with just Golev and Malloy left, Golev stepping up for Moscow in this game, though. He struggled. You know, he really struggled early on, but he's had 8 confirmed kills in this match.
Yeah, he's gonna crawl into that 50 Dorito right now. And Nicky Cuba in the same situation. All he's got to do is cross the 50. And then he can shoot Golev right in the back with Golev. I'm sure he's going to be ready for it. Nicky Cuba tries to get a shot in on Biernikov right away. And then he's going to turn and put paint in on Golev. It's going to be really tight in there. Golev's a big guy. And here comes Damian Ryan up the middle. Biernikov trying to watch over Golev, but there's Nicky Cuba. Just gonna pound on Golev. There goes Damian. Damian shoots Golev in the back. And Biernikov, the last remaining Moscow Red Legion player.
And we've seen this in all of Infamous's relegation games. This is pretty much what happens. They come out fired up. Their Challengers League status, or sorry, Champions League status on the line, and they start, you know, sometimes the games are close in the beginning, but Infamous has won every single relegation game that they've played, and I think this is the 4th time they've had to play in a relegation game this season.
That's crazy. I mean, thinking what the franchise has done over the past few years.
Yeah, they're one of the few teams to actually win an event in the past 2 seasons.
Yep.
As they won Chicago last year with essentially the same lineup. They, you know, Todd was coaching them at the time, and then they had Greg Sewers on the D side. But other than that, pretty much the same guys out there. We're going to be right back here with potentially the conclusion of this match. 2 minutes and 34 seconds to go. We'll be right back.
A&S Gear is having their World Cup Super Sale. We've got A&S pods for half off. A&S gas tanks starting as low as $99.95. We've got swabs so cheap that you can throw them away. You can get Nelson paint arriving at your door, $31.95. Jerseys, we've got them starting at $4.95. And pants, starting at $29.95. Shop now at ansgear.com and don't miss out on the biggest paintball sale ever.
Welcome back here. Looks like Infamous is calling a timeout. Don't know. I mean, they've got to have some sort of issue or something they need to talk about to call a timeout right now because they have the momentum. I wouldn't really want to let Moscow have another 2 minutes to figure out what they want to do, considering you've been putting points up on the board on pretty solidly for the past couple.
Right, and it is possible. You're only down by 3 points. There's 2 minutes and 34 seconds left. They had the fastest point, I believe, so far this game, 34 seconds. Actually, I think it's the fastest point this weekend so far. The other one was around 42 seconds. So it is possible.
I'm wondering what had happened that made Infamous decide to call a timeout, because that is going to give a little bit more time for Moscow, and they have an awesome coaching crew over there. So, you know, I would have tried to avoid having to call a timeout right now. And you got a guy in the ropes, it just gives them a little bit of breathing room.
Especially a team like Moscow Red Legion with such a deep coaching staff. You know, those guys have more coaches than most football teams.
Yeah, they run with the heavy coaching crew and just try to do and they've been doing that for a long time. And actually, you know, Moscow really kind of helped revolutionize the game a little bit on the coaching side of things, and really kind of showed you how important it is to have those objective pairs of eyes looking and judging, observing, trying to really hold people accountable, because now you can watch the webcast, any team can, and really say to their guys like, no, you actually got shot out of your bunker. Before it was kind of just all subjective. You get in a room and start arguing it out and talk about it. But even, you know, long ago, for over 10 years, Moscow's been filming all the games and having these really long meetings and really holding their players accountable, which is, I think, one of the reasons they've had so much success.
Yeah, I mean, it's that extra little advantage. It's the extra little effort that you put in. You know, practice is the time for preparation. Tournament time is the time for focus and execution. You know, every little bit of information that you have is just like talking on the field. The more information you have, the better decisions you can make. You know, if you're putting the best personnel out there, the guys that are getting the job done, it's really easy to see. There's a reason why the NFL does it, the NBA does it, Major League Baseball, everybody. You know, everybody goes back and watches film and learns how to get better.
It's pretty logical when you think about it. It's about as a no-brainer as you possibly can get.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
On your screen, Los Angeles Infamous, Damian Ryan, Brad McCurley, Nikki Cuba, AJ Trillette, and here we go, Mikhail Kovar, Beardnikoff for Red Legion.
And on the breakout, Moscow Red Legion on your screen. They're down by 3 right now, and they lose Alexander Berdikov, and I think also Mikhail Kovar off the break, so it's not looking good. I think that's pretty much going to do it here for Moscow Red Legion. It was actually Pavel Karslev was the player shot over here, snake side. So Klum, Kovar, and Wheeler left alive for Moscow. So if Moscow loses this game, that means that Moscow will not have won a game at all in this entire event.
That is just unheard of sometimes, man. I just don't. Well, you know, and again, it just shows the level of athleticism and the level of competition at this tournament.
Well, it shows that, no joke, they're in a rebuilding stage, and they need to understand that. And I mean, it's tough to build a championship team time and time again. Moscow's done it many times over the years, but they did it with pretty much the same group of guys. And so now they're in the same situation some of these other teams are in. Going up the center, Kovar going to take out Damian Ryan. So Damian Ryan comes off, but at the same time that Ryan gets shot by Kovar, Drew Templeton comes off early, dying out of his spot. I didn't see if he got shot moving over, if he got that shot of a spot. Regardless, he got shot. So now there's just 2 players left alive for both teams, but then
Oh, Coolm right there tries to make a move down the wire on AJ Trillett, but AJ Trillett was having none of that.
Hey, Klum needed to make that move because they don't have the time. There's only 1 minute and 7 seconds left, and they need to score 3 points. And now, with the score 6-2, that is it. And there's no way that Moscow is going to be able to get back in this match. I mean, Chris, you're saying the longest point that's been scored, the quickest point that's been scored was 32 seconds, 37 seconds?
Yeah,
somewhere right around
30,
there.
It was 36 seconds, I believe it was. Fastest point so far this weekend.
Yeah, so with the fact that now Moscow has to score 4 points to even just tie it up, it's not going to happen. Infamous is going to take this match, secure their Champions Division spot for 2014 again, and they're just undefeated in relegation games this year.
Man, after that strong finish, would they take 4th, I think, in the first event in Dallas, 4 straight relegation games? You know, and they haven't played bad, you know. They haven't played awesome.
They're just right on that bubble, though, of either good or great. And good sometimes is going to make you have to play a relegation game. But they've proved that they deserve to be with the best 10 teams. Let's check out this replay real quick. And this is Kovar launching down the center to try to take out Damian Ryan. Runs from the back center bunker and gets in there and trades out with them. And Damien doing a really good job of getting up in that center.
Yeah, this game, getting up there, shooting a body on the break, attacking, locking off sides, wrapping, looking for kills. You know, that's where Damien's at his best. Got to get Damien Ryan up the middle there. You know, Nicky Cuba can play that spot too. You know, he does a really good job of it. You know, and it's watching Nicky now over here come towards the snake side. I think he finally actually got in a groove by, you know, he was playing kind of both of those cans a little bit early in the tournament, but now that he's playing just a snake side with Brad McCurley, you know, I really think that that combo has been a lot better. You know, we really haven't seen Bobby Aviles a whole lot this game. He got that minor penalty, second point he played, but that's probably mostly because AJ Trillett's been playing pretty well over here. Drew Templeton has a combo. AJ Trillett gets bounced in the shoulder on the break. Oh, did not bounce. That ball broke. AJ Trillett comes walking off. Jason Wheeler again dies on the break and comes walking off along with Golev and Lukashuk.
So penalty on excessive or on Infamous though.
So Coolm right now on Infamous's side of the field. If there's one body left, it's Brad McCurley in the snake corner. There's Brad McCurley. And running down the middle of the field, Michael Kovar shoots out Brad McCurley and goes and hangs the flag.
Showing some heart.
Yeah, you know, I like seeing that, man.
But they're just delaying the inevitable. The inevitable is they will lose this game.
Yeah.
But hey, but they, you know, they're refusing to die quietly. And
and they won that game in 33 seconds. You know, pretty quick point. You know, this is what we were talking about earlier. You know, when it was the 3-2 game and they blew, and Moscow Red Legion blew the horn. I mean, this is what they were looking for. You know, winning points on the break real quick. But I mean, that penalty definitely helped.
Oh yeah, that penalty was basically somebody just tossed a giant frag grenade in the back line of Infamous off the break.
But I mean, if that's one guy, you know, they shot Trillett on the break, and then they shoot another body. You know, that's still two bodies pretty much on the break. That's what allows, that's what allowed Coolm to come up that Dorito side. So I mean, just that third body on the penalty, you know, that was the extra bonus. Allowed Moscow Road Legion to get up and get that 33-second point.
So
but
under
6-3 deficit right now.
Yes, and then the game's over. So let's talk real quick before we finish this game. Next game up, Sacramento Excessive taking on Texas Storm in the Challengers Division semifinal, and then Top Gun and Vicious. And so, Todd, Sac Excessive, Texas Storm, who are you picking in that one?
I think I'm going to have to go with Excessive. I think Texas Storm. I don't know. I like Texas Storm too, but I'm just worried about all the penalties that Texas Storm got yesterday. You know, I think Texas Storm should beat Excessive, heads up, but I'm just worried about the amount of penalties that Texas Storm have been getting. So I might have to take Excessive on this one, but we shall see.
Yeah, I would have to say pretty much the same thing.
I've been wrong before. Couple times.
33 seconds, both teams at full strength. On the breakout, Moscow losing 2, and that is pretty much going to seal the deal here. I mean, the deal was already sealed, but another one drops. So 2 players left alive for Moscow here on the snake side. But with just 10 seconds to go, time ticking off, and all Infamous is doing is just posted up, rolling their guns, shooting the lanes. And with 2 and 1, and that is it. So, but looks like before the horn blows, and there it goes, the horn blows, a little late, and Brad McCurley running down Michael Kovar, giving him a few extra welts and catching a couple himself for their last game of the tournament. So there's Brad McCurley and Infamous triumphant here in this relegation match. So Moscow Red Legion just not enough here at the World Cup to win any matches, and they will be bumping down into the Challengers Division.
You know, I mean, if I had to pick one of the 2 teams, I mean, obviously I'm going to pick Infamous to go on. My boys, good friends of mine. and my alma mater, so to speak.
Wait, right now? The game's over.
No, if I had to pick them to go on, like I said, if I had to pick one at the beginning of the game, I didn't want to say the beginning of the game.
It's too late. You can't. You got to pick the team before the game plays.
I picked them before, Maddie.
No, you picked the Impact to win this tournament.
No. I said to go on, not to get relegated. That's what I was.
Oh.
God, Maddie.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Infamous too. I didn't want to say it before the game. You know, I didn't want to say it before the game.
I didn't want to play favorites, man.
I didn't want to play favorites.
Both of you guys are crazy. Red Legion, dude. I'm just going to go opposite. What are you guys doing? Because
$5.
I'm going to be the only one right.
Todd invites me to dinner last night and totally didn't call me. I totally felt I got stood up. So, next game coming up.
Anyway.
Excessive.
And about the...
Excessive Texas Storm coming up. I'll pick them after the game, too.
Yeah.
But like I think Todd said the best. If Texas Storm can stay out of the box, they have a good chance of winning this game.
Well, Storm, they did lose 2 of their better players in the Odell brothers, but they're used to not having the Odell brothers around. That was a fresh pickup for them anyway at the last event. Odell brothers, still working hard and not able to get the time off to take away from their business. But we'll see. I don't sack excessive. Texas Storm, the game's coming at you next. But before we head to that one, let's check in with Lauren Kelly on the sidelines with Los Angeles Infamous, the winners of this match.
Welcome back. I am here with Bobby McCurley and Nikki Cuba from Infamous. Congratulations. Brad McCurley. Sorry, Brad. I'm sorry. It's so bright. I can't even think. Congratulations. You guys just won that relegation match. Now, I know you guys hate coming into relegation matches on Sunday, so how are you feeling coming into today?
I mean, like you said, this is the 3rd time this year that we've been in this position, and we don't feel like we deserve to be in this position. We've missed the cut by a point in 3 different events, and we don't feel like we should be playing this, so we want to come out here and make a statement and show that we really don't deserve to be in this game.
Nikki, what things happened that you think made you come to so many relegation matches? Was it more attitude and mental, or were you just making little mistakes?
Across the board. I mean, we were making mental mistakes, team mistakes, fundamental mistakes, and, we just had to bring it together for this game, and we do for every relegation game, and we bring Infamous paintball. Everyone plays at their level, top notch. And, that's something that we have to work on in the offseason is building this team to be a stronger team. And, we have the talent, we have the skills, we have the backing from the best company in the market, Key Action Sports. We shoot the best guns, best loaders, best paint. So, I mean, we have everything in our favor. We just got to do it. It's on us. We got to execute.
All right. Well, congratulations on that win. You guys are still in the champions bracket for 2014. Brad, I'm sorry for calling you Bobby. Next up, we have Excessive versus Storm coming up. Stay tuned.
Well, let's check out a replay before we sign off and have a couple seconds before the start of this next match. Check out this replay here, and it is Brad McCurley. Want to see if he thought he might have shoulder checked Kovar coming out of after this. So Kovar comes off and has a few words for Brad, so they're going to turn around. Brad's going to try to pump the crowd up, and then Kovar gives him a little shoulder check there. So Kovar frustrated with his team's performance, though I think that Kovar thought through his penalty issue, and I think Kovar had a pretty good event. But it doesn't matter, not enough, man. Moscow has some work to do in the offseason. We'll be right back here with this next Sacramento Excessive Texas Storm game, 2013 PSP World Cup. Stick around.